Hello, Tom.
Hey, Dana, what is happening?
Just hanging out with you and recording another episode of Two Guys Talking Toys.
Yeah, we need a stinger, one of those last time on Two Guys Talking Toys, and it's just nothing to do with what happened or what's going to be happening, like Aqua Team Hunger Force, where it's all like action sequences, and absolutely none of that happens in the show.
Right.
We need some of that, like me hanging off a cliff, and you're like, "Take my hand," and I'm like, "No," and you're like, "You take my strong hand."
No. No, I know that reference. No.
So what you been up to?
Not much. I went to Carolina last week,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I got some cool. My older brother and my mother apparently did some shopping for me, so I got some coolness. I got
Now,
go ahead.
now you found an Ollie's down there, right?
I did. I bought a bunch of stuff at Ollie's for pennies on the dollar. It was awesome. If you've got an Ollie's near you, go.
I'm incredibly jealous of every single one of you who has an Ollie's near you. We
Well,
we we don't we don't have them here in New York. I don't know why. I don't know if
you
someone's
know
keeping
why?
them out. I don't know. They just don't like us.
Well, we used to have Cheap Johns in the day, remember?
Cheap
Uh,
John's was awesome.
yeah,
I missed them with the weird like sickly yellow sign outside with
yeah.
the bad hand drawn art of this guy that looked like no one who ever existed.
No.
But great
I
stuff.
think Ollie's is in North Carolina because that's the only fuel I've got to get you to come down there with me. Uh, so look, my mom got me some Mego stuff, some like old Megos.
Oh, that's awesome. Where'd you find those? Not at Ollie's.
No, I don't know where she found them. And then Batgirl
Oh,
looking a lot like the lady who came out of the bathtub in The Shining.
I was gonna say, why is she green? Is that just from where? Was that like an official released color version of her with the like
No.
I remember the red hair,
Oh, you
but
mean
not the
costume? The
yeah.
costumes? It's gray. It's gray. It just
Oh,
looks
okay.
probably green on camera, but it's gray.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's cool because I have the Batmobile, the Batman and Robin
Mm-hmm.
Mego line from that same area, and then how much I love Ewoks. My brother got me some superpower stuff, and he got me the black box Paw
Ah,
Blue and Wicked.
I have to try so hard to not jump on the Black Series Ewoks. They're adorable. They look like they. How articulated are those? I saw knee joints.
Yeah, they've got let's see, ankle. Well, it's like they've got short legs, so it's like an ankle knee joint. It's a cankle joint, and they're their hand spins, and they've
Mm-hmm.
got elbow joints. They've got the waist turns, the head turns,
That is really
elbow.
impressive for such a
Yeah,
tiny little critter. Take
yeah.
I hope Brian Flynn from Super 7 is taking notes on these because I want burbles. I want burbles from Thundercats and I want them articulated
So
as well as, if not better than those Ewoks.
so Pablo's got longer legs, so he's got the knee and the ankle.
That's
Wickle's got just one ankle.
I'm very impressed that you remember all of their names. I kind of remember Wicket, but not
Oh,
really.
and he's got kung fu kick articulation at the hips too.
So
Yeah,
this makes me want Hasbro to take another whack at Spider-Ham.
yes.
He's not much bigger. Should have as much articulation as that.
Yeah, but he's not as cool.
I disagree. Anyone voiced by John Mulaney is pretty darn cool.
Well, there is that.
Yeah,
But
give me a
Warwick Davis, and he rolls over the log and says, "Eat your mama."
we need a grab bag of Ewoks. They should just crank them out. I mean, there's hundreds of them in the movie.
Yeah, and they're cool looking. Like Logray, the medicine man had that cool like head
Yeah,
thing, and Chief Chirper was cool. Like they said them
you,
all.
you need a little basket that has the little babies in it. So when the village is under attack, they can grab them and run with them.
Right, well, it's more like like a shuffle.
That is,
Did you get anything new?
I did. I'm really pushing this tradition of me
Oh, so
not
now it's
knowing
a
what I get.
tradition.
Now it's a yes.
This is three.
This is an
That's a
ongoing
tradition.
thing.
Yeah.
An ongoing thing of me receiving things and not remembering what I ordered. So here we go. let's see. The place that I ordered these from is a random discount store that's on eBay, where it really is just a roll of the dice. I believe they're handling returns or exchanges, probably from Target. So when you're ordering them, they're cheaper than retail, but with
But you did have a
packaging, I've had.
You got the Dusty back after you gave me yours. You got the other one.
I did. Let's see if he's actually Dusty though. This is the Russian roulette we play.
Here's actually Dusty right here.
See, I love the skin battle cat look. Hey, and I actually got a Dusty. But yeah, nice. I did hit a snag with the Scroll Queen and Super Scroll 2-pack, right? I ordered them and I received a box that said Scroll Queen and Super Scroll 2-pack, and instead it was filled with tiny containers of Play-Doh. So on the upside, this seller does just, if you don't like what you want, you can immediately send it back. You can fill out the free shipping thing, send in the return, they refund your money. So in a way, so this is number 2. I'm gonna do two today.
All right, good. You know, the windowless packaging is like how you feel about the
so there might be a torpedo in here.
Oh, nice. I like the torpedo figure.
One of the funniest things is in their listings, they'll list it as, you know, whatever the character is. And when it's shipped, when I get the shipping notice, it just says G.I. Joe Ed. And it's like, yeah, G.I. Joe Ed, let's go, G.I. Joe Ed. Hey, I'm 2 for 2.
Nice.
It actually is torpedo. I think it really is just seems to be just the 2-packs, because I'm now on failure number 3, which is enough for me to learn to not order the 2-packs anymore. Yes, I had the one failure with the Queen and the Super Scroll. I sent it back. I ordered another one because they pop up and then they disappear real quick because they're discounted.
Right. Yeah.
So I managed to catch another one. It made it to me with just Super Scroll, no Queen. So I sent that one back. In the meantime, I had also managed to snag the Thor Destroyer Armor 2-pack. Got that. Got a swap Thor and a Marvel Select Beta Ray Bill jammed into that package, and I was like, I like this Marvel Select Beta Ray Bill. I just don't want a second one, so I sent those back. So lesson learned that everyone that returns the Marvel 2-character 2-packs is a scumbag swapper, and this is why.
There you go. I like the alliteration. Very Stan Lee. That was good.
It's the unfortunate downside to windowless packaging, and even then, that doesn't stop them from swapping. It just makes it slightly less obvious.
Right. I have the same problem with the windowless packaging as I do with the paper straws. One, I'm taking a paper straw and sticking it through my plastic cup lid. But secondly, like philosophically, I agree with it because, you know, I'm a conservationist, but the logistics of it are horrible.
It's an overall almost purely visual gesture as opposed to one that's having an actual effect. Speaking of which, I need a plastic straw drink. Because it's delicious. No paper taste, no paper aftertaste. I'm sorry. Giant corporations that are actually killing the earth do better instead of this sad, pitiful.
Well, they make the compostable straws, so there you go.
I suppose
there's a happy medium.
I feel like we can do better than straws.
Well, we could just drink, like, you know, pretend we're
like a big boy.
Don't need a sippy cup. Yeah.
So I am taking a look at your display, which is awesome. Okay.
Do you have notes? Is that where this is going?
I got some notes. It's just it's unacceptable. Let's move the battle to the left. Mr. T to the front.
Mr. T and Mork in the same shelf, right? This is good for me. This is a lot.
Mortal enemies. So we know how mine changes every week. So this week, if you've noticed, everything that I've gotten in the background there, or just about everything on the background there in the shelving, is something that has been pulled from a Kickstarter or some sort of crowdfunding project, which is what I would like to talk about this week. I want to talk about crowdfunding projects. Front of mine, Hasbro just wrapped up they wrapped up one one Haslab, they have begun another. So the Ahsoka Ghost Haslab has wrapped up. It funded like almost immediately. It hit all of the tiers with all the extra characters, and it did great. And I'm very happy for anyone that was on board. For anyone who was poo-pooing and trying to yuck someone's yum.
Wow, that was a lot of just fun words.
Yeah, anyone that is essentially being a jerk, shove off. I've never fully understood the weird gatekeeping that happens with collectors. Why? There's a lot of people who have the right mindset, I believe. Hey, glad you want this. Hey, glad you're gonna get this. It funded, and there was still griping. So strange. So we'll jump off from that. So I'm glad that funded. Hasbro, just the Marvel team announced, was it Thursday or Friday? Announced that they are doing Giant Man for Marvel Legends.
Cool. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's like 24 inches tall. It comes with the tiers are the corpse face and the Skrull face, $200. Perfect.
Yeah, that's a good amount.
Price. And Dan Larson of Toy Galaxy made a great point. The amount you pay for a Marvel Legends wave now, if you're paying retail, this is like $50 more. It's like you're essentially like you're getting,
and that's cheap for a Haslab. Like they've been. I mean, he's only 24. Like, how tall is that Galactus behind you? He's more than 24 inches. Yeah.
With the helmet, he's a little bit taller. Yeah. And the Sentinel, I think the Sentinel is 24. Ant-Man is a very simple design. It comes, it's just him. And I want to talk to you about crowdfunding and what you think, because I know there are two schools of thought when it comes to crowdfunding. One, that it is a great way for people to acquire money that they may not have normally gotten. And the other school of thought seems to be that larger corporations have no business doing crowdfunding. Right. So where do you land on that?
One, I hate crowds, and I certainly don't want to fund one.
Not a fan.
No, but I get it when they're like, Hasbro, you're making $1 bazillion. I gave you a couple of grand last year, right? Why are you having to crowdfund this? Just make it and sell it retail, put it on the shelf. People will buy it, right? But here's the thing. It will cost more retail. And if you took that Galactus behind you and put it on a retail shelf, or sent it out to stores and allowed them to determine their markup, you're going to pay out the wazoo for that. I mean, I know it was expensive, but you have that. So Hasbro doing it directly through Hasbro, you're saving money on it. One, and then two, I look at them as passion projects, right? Because the stores are just going to get a couple of them and they're going to be gone. You're going to end up paying secondary market prices for it. So that I haven't seen that Galactus around yet, but if you did find it, I'm sure there are people asking $600-700 for it. Yeah. And that's the thing. So the best way to do it, whether it be a passion project or some kind of niche product or character that they thought maybe there's a limited market, is to do it that way. I don't understand the people who are like, oh, Hasbro, you should be, just selling it retail and let everybody have a shot at it, because nobody's going to have a shot at it because they're going to be gone because they take up so much shelf space and they're going to have to buy them secondary market.
Do you think that people that point to something like the Galactus we got in, what was it, like around 2010? Do you remember the larger Galactus that came out when it was still, did Hasbro take it back then? I don't remember if it was
the Build-A-Figure one?
Not the Build-A-Figure one. There was a larger one.
Oh, yeah.
Big one. And then they re-released it. They did a convention exclusive where he was on like the giant Marvel Universe card. And then
it was for the 3 3/4 inch guys, right?
Yes. And then there was a repaint where he was a darker color. He's not as big as this one. No. But that did come out at retail. So what do you think as far as like, is it a resources thing? Do you think it's maybe them saying what you said before? Well, there's not going to be enough room on the shelf. It's going to cost us X amount to just make it. And then every store will get maybe like 3 of them.
Right. So that's exactly what happened. I never saw that thing on the shelf. and I was looking for it.
Mhm.
And then, 2 months later, I saw it in the aftermarket for, 150% more than what it was on the shelf.
Mhm.
And that's a perfect example of comparing apples to apples in regards to characters.
Mhm.
That's exactly what happened. I never saw it on the shelf, and people that we've spoke of just bought it up, sat on it for a bit, and then,
Mhm.
want you to shell out a bunch for it.
Do you think that sometimes it gets abused? I know a recent crowdfund that failed was Mattel. They were trying to do the Jurassic Park gates,
Right.
and the
Yeah.
stretch goals were
That was not a good
okay.
idea.
And I think that might be part of the thing that fuels uh, the pushback that we see when a crowdfunding project announced by a company that has a name comes out there, where Jurassic Park gates, they're this amount, you get whatever these things are, but the gates themselves are really not that impressive.
Right.
It's something that I imagine you could see, like Imaginext putting out. Like
Yeah, I could actually see Imaginext doing that.
yeah, like
You're right.
actual
It
park
has to
gates.
be. It has to be something that people are willing to pay for. So
Yeah.
I just think that was just a poor choice.
So on the flip side of that, Cat's Lair, that Super 7 is putting out. And Super 7 is no Hasbro or Mattel. They don't have that kind of funding behind them, but they're kind of a small. They're kind of perfect for this kind of thing. But Cat's
Right.
Lair, $650. I sat.
How
on
is
this
that doing?
show.
I haven't followed it. Is it being funded?
It's funded.
Nice.
It's funded. I don't think they've hit Tiger's Lab tier yet, but they unlocked there was a key that was being offered where, like, if they hit a certain amount within 7 days, I think it was if they funded in 7 days, they would get, like, you would get a key to the lair or whatever. And the next tier is Tiger's Lair, and then the final tier is a Ghost of Lino.
Oh, nice.
That to me is one of the almost most perfect versions of crowdfunding.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's wanted.
Yeah. I sat on this show and I said with complete certainty that there's no way this thing would be less than $1,000.
I remember.
And
you also said you were going to get one. Did you order? Did you get in on it?
I can't make it happen. I tried.
Yeah,
I can't make it happen. I want it desperately, but aside from the space issue, getting up, and part of the other issue is that they charge you immediately when you go for it.
So, loyal listeners, you heard it here. Tom lied to you.
I wanted it so badly.
That's a lot. That's a tough one.
I still plan to get one at some point. It just won't be now. I'm gonna have to pay out of the nose aftermarket for it.
Right.
But it's one of those grail pieces. Like, this is a thing that
I love your philosophy, because I've wanted to jump in on some of these crowdfunding things and had to back out of one because of some unfortunate things. But the Dragonfly, the classifieds, and you always make the best point where, yes, it's an investment, but it'll only get more expensive from here on, because you're gonna have to buy it in the aftermarket. There's a profit. Like, this is the cheapest you're going to ever see it.
Yep, that's what breaks my heart about Cat's Lair, especially it being the grail that it is. Like, I'm glad that I was able to back the His tank, but I know that if I hadn't, I could probably get another one later on for not a whole heck of a lot. Galactus has not inflated in price all that much. I think it's gone up a little bit, but for a couple $100 more, you can get it. I wholeheartedly expect for Cat's Lair, after this is over, to cost no less than $1,000 to get a hold of it. Shipping alone is going to be a nightmare. And I think even that, like, with the current crowdfunding, it's $650, and I think shipping is $100. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think it's about $100. So you're paying about $750 to $800.
That's how much I paid for my first car.
Yeah, and I would much rather have Cat's Lair than a car. I'll just live in Cat's Lair. I'll drive the Thunder Tank to work.
Right.
So I think that my personal take on crowdfunding, and there's a lot of different, I guess, ways to go about it. You've got your Kickstarter, you've got Indiegogo, you've got GoFundMe. My earliest experience with it was the Four Horsemen back in like 2006. They did it was a fantastic exclusive, they called it, and there was a Minotaur character, I think named Zuthus, if I remember correctly. He was like a bull. Did you say bull style word? No, it was Zuthus with an X.
Oh, okay.
Although that would have been an interesting choice for
this is my friend, the Minotaur, Doofus.
I feel I need to work on my enunciation. I think every episode I either misspeak or you mishear.
Maybe I need better headphones.
This weird game of telephone. It's like, did he just say funky butt loving? No, I don't think that's what he said. I think it was something else. So they unveiled this at a San Diego Comic-Con, and then I remember getting an email or finding out through the grapevine that they were offering a wave of these things, and they needed X number. It was really cool. It was really interesting. I don't know offhand if this was a thing that had been done before. Probably, maybe on a smaller scale. I'm just not aware of when it was done. But it was interesting to see, because pre-orders existed, but it was strange seeing something like this, where their thing was, if we get X number of pre-orders, we can make this thing happen. And it was really cool. And it was like, you don't get to talk to the Hasbro designers like you do now. Like now they're much more accessible, and you can they make it a point to do
they screen my calls.
You need to see, you have to talk to Jim when you call up, ask for Jim, and be like, Tom sent you, and they'll put you right through.
All right, I'll try it.
Where was I? Lost my train of thought. So
something about Doofus.
Yeah, so it was Four Horsemen who had their own website, and they were speaking directly to fans, which was amazing, because these were the guys that we knew had worked with like McFarlane. They'd worked on the He-Man toy line. So them speaking directly to the fans, that was the emphasis in Fantastic Exclusive, that it was them and us. And it was
I see what they did there.
Yeah, it was like a really cool, really inclusive, really like you felt like you were actually driving the line. They had voting, they had all that fun stuff. And that's some of the stuff that you see carried over into the Kickstarters, where you're talking directly with the creators. Like, we see it with Jason from Spiro. You see it with the current. There's a Kickstarter that's going on right now called Legendary, which looks amazing. Have you seen this? You seen this? You heard about this? You heard about this?
Hear ye. No, I did not. I'm out of the loop the last 2 weeks.
It's a really cool looking toy line. It's even on the Kickstarter, they say it's kind of skewed towards Guardians of the Galaxy kind of style, where it's a lot of different types of alien looking creatures and humanoid monsters, and it looks really cool and really neat. So I will absolutely be trying to back them. But it's interesting to see a lot of smaller companies kind of get their start, no pun intended, on Kickstarter. I remember backing Boss Fight Studio when they were doing the virtual Hacks toy line. A lot of they were doing the Medusa characters.
Those figures are so cool. The detail in those little guys, because they're small size, and they're phenomenal.
Yeah, they were really good.
I've talked myself out of buying them like 5 times.
Stop doing that. Look, next time you're talking yourself out of it, either give me a call or call me over, and I'll be like, no, get that. No, here you go.
Right.
You need to put that back in your basket. You need that. They're good. It's good stuff.
It is.
I like seeing. It's really cool to me to see some of the smaller companies, the ones who aren't the Hasbro or the Mattels, be able to put their work out there, get an actual fan base behind it, or have some real enthusiasm from the being able to talk to your buyers almost directly. You're always going to have your negative Nancys and your whiners and your moaners, but for the most part, I think the toy community or toy collector community wants these things to succeed, and when they don't, it's really kind of a shame. Like the Sectors line that Zika was doing, they're great. It's a crime, to put it lightly, that Series 2 didn't get funded. For insert whatever reason, whether it be the advertising for it not being that great, resistance from the toy community because there was uncertainty as to whether or not they were going to get the insect companions. It's a real shame that that's not getting that didn't get a chance to finish.
I agree.
I know Nacelle is doing it. I have reservations about the way that they currently look, so I'm hoping that it's a surprise reveal when they get them in hand and they put them out there and they're like, surprise!
Look, it's actually cool.
Yeah, as opposed to I don't think they look bad. It's just they look almost exactly like the original. And I apologize
for less money.
On this.
For less money, you can go get the originals. But back to the crowdfunding. Yeah, I get the Hasbro people, but the other. So let's talk about the other side of the crowdfunding. The people who are all for it, like you are. And I'm all for it philosophically, but I haven't really jumped on one yet.
And what's making you stop? Is it the? I mean, because some of them do get pricey, and even if you have that cushion of you get charged for this when the Kickstarter is over, you don't know where you're going to be a month and a half from now.
Right.
So is that kind of like
that's exactly what it is? And it wasn't something I paid much attention to until I don't know 2-3 years ago. And I was always not everything got my juices flowing the way like the Dragonfly did, right? And so it has to be a very specific thing because in my mind I'm always doing the P's and Q's, right? So if I'm paying $400 for this, that's potentially 20 other figures that I'm not buying. Because I've dedicated $400 to this one thing. And then I go back and I'm like, yeah, but that's a special thing, right? And that's the cheapest it's going to be. And but then I'm like, that's like 4 months worth of figure shopping for me. So
it's not a bad mindset to have. And I appreciate that you are doing some adulting by saying, look, I got to be responsible because I don't know what's going to come up a month from now. The person that hates me the most in this world is a guy called Tomorrow Tom, and everything is his problem. I don't care. I'm doing what I need to do right now. Tomorrow Tom can worry about this. And I do this for stupid things like I should buy a pair of gloves because it's really cold in the wintertime. So when I go out to my car and I start it up, it's real cold until the heat gets going. But then the heat's going, and I'm like, well, I'm good now.
I'm not going to spend this money on gloves for 5 minutes of discomfort. This is why we are friends, Tom, because I just said, as an almost 50-year-old man, I said, I don't want to buy that toy because if I do, I can't buy more toys later. And the fact that I would rather have more toys than that toy made me an adult in your head. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, you're looking for numbers, you're looking for quantity. It's kind of interesting. And we've talked about this before with the rising cost of toys just in general. That gap between what's considered a premium figure and what's just retail. That difference is getting real thin.
Now it's like a $5-10 difference now.
Yeah, it's getting real thin. So now my thing is, if I see a Kickstarter where each individual figure is about $35, these aren't going to be something that'll be re-released or put back out there by the parent company like Hasbro can do at any point in time if they want to do well, they're doing it with the Avengers Infinite series. They're re-releasing a bunch of figures. Even if they tweak the mold a little bit, even if they tweak the colors on a pre-existing mold, they can still do that. Someone who's doing a Kickstarter, who's like a smaller company, may not have the means to do it. So I'm more inclined to just not get some stuff. And I'm kind of hitting the point that you have hit. For my saturation point on Marvel Legends is I'm kind of there. There's not a whole lot coming out right now that I really want. And if I do, I now actively play clearance chicken. It's all about waiting for maybe this will go on sale. Do I need the Rose in that outfit? Maybe he'll probably go on clearance. That guy's probably going to go on clearance at some point.
Right. And go ahead.
But when I see a Kickstarter, I know that the clock is ticking, and I have X amount of time to save up and make sure that I can get this guy, and this guy. which I guess makes me really glad to see that some of the companies that have started off doing Kickstarters become successful enough where they can start cranking out their own stuff. Like it goes from Kickstarter 1, 2, and 3 to we're just doing pre-orders now. Like Boss Fight can do pre-orders. Four Horsemen are just doing pre-orders. Spiro has hit the point where they're now just doing straight up pre-orders, which is really cool.
Yeah. And what it boiled down to for me for when I jumped on the Dragonfly crowdfunding is, you know, I had expenses coming down the line more so than usual. And I was like, all right, well, I need to be prepared for that. And so I was like, okay. So I kind of just like killed everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, for the next month or two, you know, I have to save up for this expense coming up, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, then I realized I was going to be okay. But it came down to either getting back on the Dragonfly or the rest of the Fury planet, like Crocker here. So it was the choice. Like, do I want those cool 4 figures or do I want the Dragonfly? And I went with the Fury planet. I thought I'm going to get 4 or 5 really cool figures that I will likely not be able to find in an aftermarket setting, right? As compared to the Dragonfly. So I just made that call, and that's what I went with. More figures over the one.
See, my thinking on it would have been that the Fury are probably going to be around in the time that it'll take for the Dragonfly to like go through production and be made. Like that hit that you'll take on supporting it, you'd make that money back up over the course of maybe what, like a year and a half production.
Yeah, because the His tank hasn't
time.
even gotten out yet, right?
Yeah, I forget about it, and that's one of the other kind of fun things. It feeds into our now 3-week tradition of me not remembering what I ordered. I have because of space issues. I have a Sentinel, but he's in storage. I have Unicron. I backed the Haslab Unicron. He arrived. I have him. I have nowhere to put him. I don't know what I'm going to do with Eternia when that shows up, but I backed it. That's tomorrow Tom's problem. He'll figure out what to do with it. He'll figure out some, like we can throw a sheet over it and use it for a table or something, I guess.
But make sure you put a coaster on it.
Yeah, man, I don't want that seeping through into the main tower.
That's adulting. Using a coaster, that's adulting.
That should be a stretch goal. The Eternia coaster.
Right.
So I guess I should put a question to you and then break the rules of it. If you, is there a Kickstarter or like a crowdfunding project that you would like to see?
You know, when we spoke about we had the conversation about the Ewok Village one time, but that was specifically speaking about Haslab stuff. Let me think. Why don't you, if you already got an answer, throw it out there while I go like this.
Did I limit you to one? Because I'm not limiting myself to one.
Yes, you limited me to one.
I did. Great. So I can do multiples.
Such a punk.
I want to see crowd-funded projects of franchises that have kind of already been claimed. I want a crowd-funded version of the Sector's Hive playset. I don't know if Nacelle is going to be able to do one. The original is still excellent. It's so much fun to mess around with. But I'd be curious to see what else they could do, because Mattel just recently did that fan poll where you got to choose 2 proposed vehicle/playset options. That I don't remember if I text you about that. Yelling and screaming. You could choose the Filmation version of Attack Track, a giant Horde tank, the Horde Tower from the Filmation series, the Fright Zone, and Lady Slither's Snake Tower. So of course I voted for the Snake Tower. The correct answers, ladies and gentlemen, the correct answers to that poll were the Fright Zone and Lady Slither's Snake Castle. Those are the correct answers. If you voted for Attack Track, you're entitled to believe that you chose correct. I hope that my hope is that poll was free marketing for them, where they thought, okay, well, we'll just see what the people really want, and then we'll make that first, as opposed to we're just going to make that one. I hope that it's like a timeline thing. Like we'll do 1, 2, and 3 over the course of the next like 4 or 5 years, and then the rest of these maybe down the line if the line's still alive, according to some people.
Right. I take pot shots at him. That's good. I thought of mine. If Hasbro, because they're doing the Legends Crystar figure, right, and hopefully they'll make the rest of the characters. I remember when I got the Crystar things when I was young. The Crystal Dragon came out, and my mother is used to really be into like those little pewter dragons that would have a little crystal on the top of a castle with the dragon wrapped around. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Or there'd be a wizard with a pewter wizard, much like the Dungeons and Dragons guys that had the crystal thing on the top. She saw the Crystal Dragon, and I remember her saying that it was really a beautiful toy. And that was that clunky, translucent blue with the wings that were also, I mean, it was a cool toy. But I remember my mother saying, that's really a beautiful toy. And I one appreciated the fact that she understood those things. And then 2, I agreed with her. Now, like a Haslab version of that Crystal Dragon.
Oh, that would be really
with
cool.
articulation, because remember, it wasn't articulated. The wings had some like a ball joint there, but that was it. But if they made a big Crystal Dragon for the 6-inch Marvel Legends Crystar to sit on, man, that would be the cat's pajamas.
That would be fantastic. Speaking of dragons, I hope
Giant Man. Speaking of pajamas,
it's bedtime for me. We're old. Speaking of dragons, I hope Giant Man does well, and I hope that Hasbro takes that as a sign that they should do a 2-for-1 Dragon Haslab where they offer Fin Fang Foom and Dragon Man.
Dragon Man would be awesome.
Do them together or separately. I don't care. I want them.
Do a bigger Fin Fang Foom and then a little bit smaller, like half size. That would be cool.
Give me a Galactus size Fin Fang Foom. Like, give me that, please.
I would get on that one. I would do that one.
All right, so we're going to draw this to a close. Thank you for humoring me. Thank you for talking about crowdfunding. It's been a fun time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to join in and let us know what kind of crowdfunding or what sort of Kickstarter you would like to jump in on, let us know. Get a hold of us on Twitter. Our handle is 2 Guys Talking Toys. That is the number 2, no G after the talking. Or you can get a hold of us on Gmail. That is 2 Guys Talking Toys, the number 2, no G after the talking. Instagram, when it stops being a butt, I will have a handle for us on there as well. Take care, everybody.
Hey, if you and I each had a Fin Fang Foom that big,